Hello, I'm Serena Clyde, reporting for QE News. Today, tomorrow, yesterday, last week, next month, last month, and now. You are listening to QE News. Thank you. Tens of thousands gathered on the National Mall in Washington for a rally on Tuesday, expressing support for Israel and condemning anti-Semitism. This event served as a counterpoint to the pro-Palestinian demonstrations that have dominated the American landscape in recent weeks. The rally drew a diverse crowd, with participants, including senior members of Congress, donning the white and blue colors of Israel. Many waved placards calling for the release of hostages taken during a surprise attack by the Palestinian militant group Hamas on October 7th. Israeli authorities claim the attack resulted in over 1,200 casualties. The subsequent Israeli response, characterized by relentless attacks on the Hamas-run Gaza Strip, has sparked controversy in the United States. Officials in Gaza report over 11,300 casualties, including thousands of children. Families directly affected spoke out at the rally, with Rachel Goldberg, the mother of one of the hostages, describing the family's pain as third-degree burns on our souls. Mark Moore, a Christian pastor from Chicago, expressed his belief in Israel as the only bastion of freedom in the Middle East. He prayed for peace achieved through victory, aiming to break the cycle of violence that has gripped the region. Organized by the Jewish Federation of Greater Washington, the demonstration, dubbed the March for Israel, centered on combating anti-Semitism and calling for the release of hostages. Israeli President Isaac Herzog, addressing the crowd via video link from Jerusalem, asserted that they were marching for the right of every Jew to live proudly and safely in Israel and the U.S. and the world. Political leaders, including U.S. Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer and House Speaker Mike Johnson, addressed the crowd, expressing solidarity and acknowledging the pain felt by the families. Schumer, the highest-ranking Jewish elected official in the United States, declared, "America feels your pain." Security was tight, reflective of the heightened tensions surrounding the event. Police deployed snowplows as temporary roadblocks, and protesters' bags underwent thorough searches before entering the area. In contrast to previous pro-Palestinian demonstrations, this rally directed its anger towards Hamas, with signs declaring, "Annihilate Hamas," and "From the river to the sea, we support democracy." This event follows multiple large protests across the country and around the world, calling for a ceasefire and criticizing Israeli military actions. The contrasting narratives and sentiments displayed in these rallies underscore the deep divisions and complexities surrounding the Israeli-Palestinian conflict, even within the United States.
In other news, Israel's National Security Minister, Itamar Ben-Gvir, proudly shared a photograph featuring troops from the renowned Golani Brigade of the Israel Defense Forces, IDF, within the premises of Gaza's parliament. The image signifies a strategic move by the IDF to establish control over the area. The photograph was accompanied by a video released by Israeli media, where a commander near the parliament building confirmed the IDF's assumption of control. This development follows a series of recent statements from Israeli officials regarding the evolving situation in the Gaza Strip. Members of the IDF's Golani Brigade were prominently displayed in a photograph proudly waving Israeli flags within the Palestinian Parliament building in Gaza City. The release of these visuals coincided with a statement by Israeli Defense Minister Yoav Gallant, asserting that Hamas had lost control over the Gaza Strip. According to Gallant, Hamas has lost control of Gaza. Terrorists are fleeing south, civilians are looting Hamas bases. He emphasized the diminishing faith in the government among the populace. In a recent statement, President Joe Biden underscored the importance of safeguarding Gaza's largest hospital, Al-Shifa, during the ongoing conflict. "My hope and expectation is that there will be less intrusive action relative to hospitals, and we remain in contact with the Israelis," he stated. Expressing concern for the well-being of civilians, President Biden hoped for reduced intrusion during the conflict. However, he clarified that he hadn't directly addressed the hospital issue with Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu. Meanwhile, Gaza's health ministry reported a regrettable toll of at least 32 patients in the last 3 days. Israeli military officials reported on Monday that they had discovered compelling evidence suggesting hostages were held in Rantissi Hospital in Gaza. Rear Admiral Daniel Hagari, a military spokesperson, presented video footage and photographs indicating the presence of weapons, including grenades, suicide vests, and other explosives stored by Hamas in the hospital's basement. The hospital, renowned for specializing in cancer treatment, was allegedly repurposed as a command center for Hamas fighters. Hagari highlighted signs pointing to possible hostage situations, underlining the ongoing investigations and intelligence verification. The military spokesperson also revealed footage showcasing living quarters and identified a tunnel shaft believed to lead to the residence of a senior Hamas naval commander, emphasizing the hospital's alleged use as a base for attacks.
Also, in a significant development in the ongoing conflict in Gaza, the Israeli Defense Force, IDF, has launched a targeted operation against Dar al-Shifa Hospital, Gaza's largest medical complex and emergency facility. The IDF claims that the hospital is being used as a command post by the Palestinian Hamas's terrorist wing. Satellite photos taken in the past few hours reveal a significant deployment of Israeli tanks and armored vehicles around the perimeter of the hospital. The IDF contends that the hospital is hiding underground command centers beneath thousands of civilians seeking medical care and shelter. The director of Al-Shifa Hospital reported that staff and patients are taking cover in hallways amid heavy gunfire from the streets outside. The hospital has been under siege for 4 days, lacking electricity and water supplies. Medical procedures are reportedly taking place without anesthesia due to the ongoing conflict. The IDF issued an ultimatum urging Hamas terrorists allegedly hiding within the hospital to surrender. The military claims to have entered the compound based on intelligence information and operational necessity, emphasizing a precise and targeted operation against Hamas in the specified area. The United Nations estimates that over 2,300 individuals, including patients, staff, and displaced civilians, are trapped inside the hospital. Despite warnings from the United States and others to protect the hospital, the IDF pressed forward with its operation. The IDF accuses Hamas of using hospitals in the Gaza Strip, including Al-Shifa, and tunnels beneath them to conceal and support military operations, branding such actions as war crimes. The United States Pentagon supports these allegations, condemning the use of hospitals for military purposes. The World Health Organization, WHO, expressed concern over the deteriorating situation, stating that the hospital is no longer functioning as a medical facility. The IDF's actions have sparked criticism for potentially violating the laws of war, with appeals for a clear warning before major attacks to minimize civilian casualties. Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu defended the operation, asserting that Hamas, not Israel, should be held accountable for committing a double war crime, targeting civilians while hiding behind them. He called for international support against what he termed as Hamas barbarism. The outcome of the battle for Dar al-Shifa Hospital is expected to have significant implications for both the ongoing conflict and Israel's adherence to international humanitarian laws. As the situation unfolds, the global community closely watches the developments in this critical and sensitive operation. For the situation in Iceland, we go to Daniel.
The Reykjanes Peninsula in southwest Iceland experienced a significant earthquake swarm on November 10th, raising concerns of a potential eruption, the fourth since 2021. Iceland's geological activity is due to its location on the mid-Atlantic ridge, where the North American and Eurasian plates diverge. The brittle surface rocks break as the plates pull apart, releasing strain in bursts. The Reykjanes Peninsula, formed by tectonic forces, undergoes rifting every few hundred years. The current phase involves hundreds of earthquakes, signaling the arrival of magma near the surface. Similar events have occurred globally, such as in northern Iceland, 1975 to 1984, and Afar, Ethiopia, 2005 to 2010. Magma lubricates the rifting process, rising through fractures in the brittle crust. Monitoring by the Icelandic Meteorological Office, using seismometers and satellite data, tracks ground movements and detects signs of potential eruptions. The recent earthquake swarm, part of events since early 2020, focuses around the Thorbjörn volcanic system. Surface deformation indicates magma entering the crust, creating a fracture that extends to about 15 kilometers depth. While an eruption seems likely, confirmation depends on detecting specific signs like volcanic tremors or shallow earthquakes. If an eruption occurs beneath the town of Grindavik, similar to the 2021 to 2023 Fagradalsfjall eruptions, it could pose threats. Gas emissions, combined with burning peat and vegetation, may create toxic air. Preemptive evacuations have been considered, particularly if the eruption occurs in Grindavik, similar to the 1973 Eldfell eruption in Queye. If the eruption is at the southern end of the dike, offshore, it could lead to submarine eruptions with small-scale explosions and local ash clouds. While not as widespread as the 2010 Eyjafjallajökull eruption, even a small submarine eruption presents challenges for authorities to manage. Thank you for your time. Enjoy the rest of your day.